In Jerusalem, you often find yourself looking at something old, only to discover that it's much, much older than you think. Here's one example. This is the city wall built by the Ottoman Turks in the 16th century. But look closer and you'll notice writing on this stone. It's not in Turkish. The inscription is a fragment in Latin, a few letters and a number. It identifies a famous military unit, but not one connected to the Ottoman Empire. This unit was part of the military of the Roman Empire, a detachment based in the city a millennium and a half before this wall was built. The inscription, when it was whole, read Legio X Fretensis. The Latin name Fretensis means guardian of the straits, and was the name of one of Rome's most efficient and feared army outfits. When workers built this wall for the Turkish Sultan about 500 years ago, they found this stone lying around somewhere, picked it up and put it to use. Many stones in this wall are much older than the wall. They were simply collected and reused for the 2nd, 3rd, or 15th time. What was the Roman 10th Legion doing in Jerusalem? The story begins with the Jewish uprising of 66 CE. The war was the result of irreconcilable friction between imperial authorities in Rome and the native people of Judea. On one side were the Romans with their aqueducts, baths, modern technology, and polytheistic religion, an empire that ruled much of the known world. On the other side was a tiny, fractious nation, the Jews, with their unique belief in one God. Roman authorities didn't require the population of Judea to convert to the Roman faith or engage in idol worship, but the Jews had a fierce hatred of foreign domination. When they refused to make sacrifices in the temple in honor of the Roman emperor, it marked the outbreak of rebellion, pitting the Jews in a hopeless war against the global superpower. 3 crack legions of the Roman army, part of the world's most sophisticated military machine, were sent to Judea to crush the rebels. By the time the legions arrived, the rebels held the temple and all of Jerusalem's main buildings. The siege lasted about a year and a half. When the Roman soldiers finally broke through into the city, they destroyed everything in their path. The general Titus, son of the Roman emperor Vespasian and a future emperor himself, apparently didn't want the temple destroyed. It was a famous and beautiful building, but a fire started accidentally and the legionnaires couldn't extinguish it. Afterward, nearly the entire city was destroyed in the fighting. In the many layers of Jerusalem archaeology, there's a layer of vivid destruction dating to this battle in 70 CE. Right here is an example of the ruins left by the fighting. These are stones from the Temple Mount platform which tumbled down from a great height. The weight of these stones was so great that in places they smashed through the pavement and remain where they fell nearly 2,000 years later. It's an illustration of the description left by the historian Josephus Flavius, a witness to the city's fate. Neither its antiquity, nor its extensive riches, nor its people spread throughout the whole world, nor the glory of its religion could save it from destruction. Such was the end of the siege of Jerusalem. After the Roman victory and the expulsion of Jewish civilians, the city's residents didn't move far away. Many settled a short distance from Jerusalem on land that's now inside the city limits and even accessible by tram, in what is now the modern Arab district of Shuafat and the Jewish neighborhood of Neve Yaakov. They formed small settlements here, but later these too were swept away. Residents here always built with the local limestone, and the Roman army units that remained in Judea, like the 10th Legion, continued this tradition. But as they did all over the Roman Empire, the legionnaires also manufactured bricks, which were light, durable, and allowed them to raise tall buildings. And they manufactured roof tiles. Many of the bricks and tiles have a stamp identifying the legion that made them. It's a kind of quality mark. Similar bricks, tiles, and ceramic water pipes, all manufactured in Roman military workshops, can be found in almost any major European city. Only the legion number and symbol change. In Jerusalem, it's a warship or a boar, sometimes both together. And we find the inscription that we've already encountered on that stone in the city wall, Legio X Fretensis. The Romans destroyed Jerusalem, but they didn't leave. They couldn't abandon these ruins or the local population would gradually creep back, so the 10th Legion remained here in permanent camp. The most likely location for the camp is thought to be here, near what is now the Jaffa Gate. From this relatively high ground, troops could monitor what was happening elsewhere in the city. Nearby are the huge stones of the Tower of Fasael, part of the city fortress left from the time of King Herod. The 10th Legion stayed here for decades to assert Roman control, but things didn't stay peaceful. Just over 60 years after the Roman conquest of Jerusalem, in 132 CE, the Jews rebelled again, launching what's known as the Bar-Kokhba Revolt. This time, the Romans decided to take no further chances. After snuffing out the revolt in 3 years of bloody fighting, troops completely leveled Jerusalem and built an entirely new city in its place. They erased the Jewish name and called it instead Aelia Capitolina. Today, we may not think of Jerusalem as a Roman city, but much of the Roman city remains. In fact, the streets of today's old city largely match the design by Roman planners. We have stones with inscriptions left by soldiers and officers. We have Roman tombstones, and even this magnificent column, which was picked up sometime in the early 20th century and reused as a lamppost. A restaurant called the Bathsheba Café sprung up around it. If we look closely, we find an inscription referring to a senior officer named Marcus, commander of the 10th Legion. Most of the customers probably don't notice the 2,000-year-old inscription and have no idea that they're sitting next to a proud remnant of a Roman legion that wrought terrible violence here and whose mark on the city remains visible to this day.